Hey, what's up everybody? Today, this video, we're going to be talking about putting together a marketing strategy and a plan to help your business grow online. And today, what we're going to be talking about in this video is putting together a online marketing plan for 2021. And the reason why I say marketing plan, not social media marketing plan, is because it's much more than just social media marketing nowadays. It comes down to everything from search engine optimization to online networking to podcasting to doing one-on-one sales calls, doing group presentations. It's PR. How do you get on the news, right? How do you get articles ranking on other sites? How do you get referral traffic? There's just a robust system, and including email follow-up. Like, you have to have a comprehensive marketing plan in order to be successful in business. And too many times have I talked to small business owners who are going about doing tactical work, right? Someone says you got to be on TikTok, or you've got to be on YouTube, or you've got to be over on Facebook running Facebook ads or whatever, and it's a tactical position, not a strategy, right? And with the strategy, with the properly developed strategy, what you're able to do as a business owner is you're able to actually delegate certain tactics and then monitor them from above, rather than being stuck in the day-to-day activity of doing some sort of activity, right? So like, for example, this video that I'm filming requires me to actually film it, but then once it comes down to actually broadcasting this, I'm able to then hire somebody to go in and optimize it for search and cross-promote it on Facebook and publish it on Instagram and run it as an ad across all the different networks, and that's what we call leverage. So in order to be a successful business owner in 2021, you have to get leverage. So many small business owners are sold that they need to have more leads generated, but at the same time, how are we converting those leads into happy customers, right? What are we doing with that customer once they've bought from us? Are we asking for referrals? Are we generating reviews? Are we able to then put that customer back into our funnel and remarket to them? Like, that is one of the best ways of growing your business, because you have three ways of growing your business. You can get more customers, you can get the same customers to buy more from you, and you can get the customers to come back and buy more frequently. If you grow those three areas and you focus on all three, then you can grow a business very well. And when you actually look at it, it's called the law of geometric growth. So, and I'll just briefly touch on this, but if you have more customers and more often and more money, right, as your three primary ways of growing your business, you're able to get more customers, right? That's lead generation. That's generating more customers, asking for referrals more often, right? Getting them to come back in and buy more often from you. So say you're a lawyer, right? You wouldn't want them to get into accidents per se, but you'd want them to come back to you when they have another need, right? Maybe it's planning, estate planning, planning their business, setting up another business, right? Example. And then also spending more money with you, right? More billable hours. Or in the event of you're running a landscaping business, right? You want them to have a higher ticket value. You want to have other products that you can sell, right? To grow the total purchase amount, right? On e-commerce, it's a shopping cart. You want to have more people put more stuff in their shopping cart. You want to have them come back more often. You want them to refer other people, right? So those are the three areas of growth. So if we grow each area 10%, right? If we focus on growing 10%, 10%, 10%, what ends up happening is we end up growing it. So 133%, normally you'd say, well, it'd be 30%, right? Well, no, it's actually 133%, 133.1%. And the difference doesn't seem like much. But when you're doing this every quarter, compounding interest actually takes over and makes a huge difference. So if we're able to grow each area 10%, we're getting much more than 10% in each area's growth. In the overall, like, revenue, profit, etc. So what does that look like? Well, if we've got 4 quarters in a year and we're able to grow this one 33%, so that's 1.3. The difference of 30% versus 33.1% compounded over 4 quarters, if you're considering all things equal, Q1, 1.3, 1.331. Q2, 1.69, 1.772. Q3, 2.197 versus 2.358. Q4, 2.856 versus 3.138. Now you might say that's not really that big of a deal. Well, when you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, Or let's say it's just $100,000. Well, if you're able to grow $100,000 over 4 quarters to 3.138 versus 2.856, you're talking about a difference of $28,000, right? Just by taking that same dollar amount and growing it using that law of geometric growth. So if you're able to increase just 10% in each one of those areas, new customer acquisition, customer order volume, and customer frequency, you're able to effectively grow your business that much faster. Now, let's say we add another zero. Let's say we're talking about $1 million, right? $1 million becomes 2.856 million versus 3.13 million. You're talking about a difference of $280,000. That's a pretty significant difference, right? So depending on the size of your business, this law of geometric growth applies. Now, that's just in year 1. What happens if we extrapolate to 3 years out? Now, looking at it over the course of, say, just 3 years, well, year 1, you can see the difference is fairly noticeable. Year 2, the difference is starting to get much larger. In year 3, you're talking about a 7-point difference, right? 7 whole percentage points, right? And so on a scale of $100,000, if you're talking about $100,000 invested in year 1, 2, and 3, and you're growing it using this methodology, well, you're looking at $232,000, $232,900 versus $309,080. Now that's a $76,000 difference just by simply increasing in the area of 10%. So when we're looking at this growth, it's like, well, if you're able to increase just those 3 areas by 10% each, you're going to get a much more noticeable difference than what you would expect. And if you're looking at a scale of $1 million, I mean, we're talking a $761,000 difference. So focusing on all 3 of those areas is important, because if you can get that consistent growth of 10% each quarter in those 3 areas, you're able to effectively grow a business much faster than if you just focus on new customer acquisition or customer repeat sales or just getting referrals, if that makes sense. First, I want to start out by saying, what is social media really used for? What is social media utilized for? Well, a lot of people think social media is a marketing platform where you just blast out your message, or you're just going to be cross-promoting your YouTube videos on other channels, and it's just there to just basically blanket your message and spread it as much as you can. But the reality is that social media is constantly changing, and what would work maybe 2 years ago doesn't necessarily work now. So there's a couple different uses for social media, and every social media is very different. But for the most part, we're going to talk about some of the core ones, which are going to be Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And we're also going to touch on some blogging platforms like Tumblr, as well as also YouTube, which is a very good channel to utilize. That's what we're doing right now, is we're shooting video content for YouTube. But these are the primary social tools that you can use in order to get to your target customer. Now, I want to start out by saying none of these are actually important if you don't know who it is that you're targeting. If you're just trying to promote yourself on social media, and you're just like, we help anybody and everybody. Maybe you're a local restaurant and you're like, come on in. I mean, really with restaurants, like it's a lot more of a different conversation with restaurants than it is with some other businesses. But some businesses we worked with in the past are cosmetic surgeons, right? Roofers, landscapers, insurance, right? Insurance sales, insurance brokerages, real estate. We've also worked with some auto dealerships as well. And I'm trying to think, the biggest thing that I've noticed is that people think that all their business is commoditized, that they're just competing with everybody else. General contractors, photographers, wedding, portrait, landscape, you name it. Videographers, pet store owners, demolitions companies, coaches, right? And I could keep going on and on, but basically all of these businesses and many, many more, legal as well, law firms, they all share something in common, which is you're all dealing with people. And the most important thing is that it doesn't matter what you're selling, you have to remember that you're talking to people. You're not just talking to robots, right? With SEO, with search engine optimization, so many people focus on the robot, the algorithm, but they never actually pay attention to who it is that they're selling to. So I'm going to just use one of these as an example, but right now we're working with a roofing company to help them with getting more visibility online. And I want to use them as an example because they're a pretty good example. They're fairly commoditized and don't feel like there's a way of differentiating their business. And so with roofers, first we want to start out by saying, who is our best customer? And what does she look like? Or what does he look like? So once you've identified who it is that you're targeting in your marketing, then you can get really clear on your messaging. And then you can go into, okay, which media is going to be best to utilize this on. We're targeting roofing customers who are, let's say, women, ages 30 to 45. Stay-at-home moms, and they like value, right? They don't necessarily go with the cheapest thing. Again, it's about getting the most value for their dollar. I mean, 85% of household spending goes through the female in the household. So let's be real. They do a lot more shopping than us. Like, let's be real. But they also, the other perception is that the higher the price an item is, usually the better value it is. And I've done this quite often. I've gone out and bought something really cheap and then kicked myself for not having spent a little bit more money to get the value out of the product. So that's what drives reviews online. That's what drives articles, testimonial videos. That's what drives all these YouTubers that are reviewing products, doing video reviews and everything. Yeah, of course they're getting compensated, a small percentage. They're making like 3 or 4% on a referral, which is just paid out in advertising dollars. So it's not like it's costing you any more money, but it does kind of skew their opinion, right? If they normally would have said, product A is better, but then B offers them a slightly higher incentive and they have a big following, well, they're going to make more money off of B, so they should probably refer B. That's not the right way to do it, but that's how a lot of people do it. So you have to be cautious of that. But for the most part, higher price is correlated with higher value in most people's minds. So then the question is, what's the message that we're sending to them, right? What are the pain points? What are the problems that this person's experiencing? What are the frustrations that they've had, right? We want to go through all of these things first before we ever start trying to write or type or video, record, etc. So, like for instance, one of our target avatars is the small business owner that's struggling and frustrated and just overwhelmed with how much there is to know about all of this. There's just way too much out there on the internet, and there's tons of free training videos, and there's tons of information, and there's free reports and ebooks and audio programs and webinars and seminars and everything. But the truth is that you as the small business owner don't have the time. That's what it boils down to. It's not about get some information for free or get some quality information for free. It's about not being able to implement it. Because of all the small business owners that we've talked to, what we found is that, yeah, there's a lot of information, that's great, but information doesn't make me money unless you're in content marketing business or you're in the information marketing business. So if you're in the roofing business, or you're a lawyer, or you're a doctor, or a dentist, or a chiropractor, or you've got a pet store business, right? Information can draw people to you, but then you still have to be able to convert those people into customers. So that's where this process comes in, is the who, what, and where, right? And the last thing is the medium, right? And that's not to be confused with the website medium, but the medium is the transference mechanism. It's how do you actually get your message to your prospect? And I'll give you some examples. Medium can also be door knocking, right? You can actually go around and knock doors in your neighborhood and just say, hi, my name is so-and-so. I was just in the area because I wanted to introduce myself. I'm a new chiropractor in the area, and I know you may not be needing chiropractic right this minute, but I wanted to come by and just say hi, introduce myself. And then also bring a gift. A gift is fantastic. If you can bring like a cake, or you can bring like cupcakes or something like that, and you just give it to them, like, yeah, you're a stranger and everything, but like, here, look, I'll eat a cupcake, and then you just give it to them, and then that's it. You don't ask them for anything. So with the internet, whenever you're doing digital marketing, the way you give gifts ahead of time is you give away content. You give away information that's useful for your target market, right? I'm not trying to help restaurants. So I'm not trying to market to restaurants. I've helped restaurants in the past, but I'm not trying to sell to restaurants anymore. And the reason why is because margins are very thin. It's very difficult to make it work. You have to get a lot of reviews. There's so much competition. Everybody wants to do a restaurant. It's just not who we just don't work with restaurants, unfortunately. I know a few good people that can help restaurants, and I know a fantastic consultant that can help restaurants, but I personally will not work with restaurants just because it's not our target market. It's not who we work best with. So who we help better is roofers, contractors, professionals, dentists, lawyers, doctors, CPAs, anybody that has a finite schedule that has to sell their time, right? Those are the people that we work best with. So, so you've got door knocking, right? You can do direct mail. And you may have some reservations about door knocking and direct mail, but they definitely still work. Then there's also email marketing. You just make that a little bit more legible. You've got social media, right? You've got search engine optimization and search engine marketing as well, right? They're two different things. Search engine optimization is organically showing up in the listings, and search engine marketing is paying for the placement. And they have their place. You don't want to be paying for placement forever, but you also need to actually pay to play in the beginning so you can start driving traffic and customers to your business. And then eventually we want to be able to convert over to search engine optimization, right? Organically getting customers coming to you who are pre-educated and predisposed to want to do business with you. So those two go hand in hand. There's social media marketing, and there's also social advertising. You've also got things like podcasting, radio, TV, billboards. There's just a long, long list. But essentially, it boils down to you've got ads, networking, referrals, search. These are kind of the four main categories. You can buy placement. You can earn placement through networking. You can earn placement through doing great service for your clients and then asking them to refer you. And then you can also earn placement by public speaking, by writing articles in newspapers and magazines, and going out and talking on radio shows and doing podcast interviews. You can also get direct, and this can be by having a link in your email footer, by having, but basically it's building your brand, which then drives direct search back to your website so that people can find out about you. But essentially, these are the four main areas of focus. Advertising, which is what you're going to have to do in the beginning if you're relatively new. Networking, which is getting your brand out there, getting your message out there, and getting customers to be curious about you. And referrals, which is you've gone to past customers and you said, hey, advertising is really expensive. We would love to reward you instead. So for every person that you refer to our business that becomes a happy customer, what we're going to do is we're going to do X, Y, Z, and they're going to get your referral. Your friend is going to get X, Y, Z, right? It could be a free home inspection, a free home audit, a brief strategy session on how to plan for retirement and save tens of thousands of dollars on taxes, how to make sure that your family's protected no matter what. Hurricane, bullets, trains, whatever, right? It could literally be a tree flying through your house. Your family's still protected, right? That could be something that an insurance agent or insurance salesperson offers to their clients. And you say, it's simple, it's easy. We just sit down for 15, 20 minutes and I find out what are your goals, what are your plans, what do you have in place, and we come up with a strategy. And at the end of that meeting, if you don't want to move forward with it, it's no harm, no foul, no problem. And taking that approach will actually make people want to sit down with you, putting a value on your services. Don't just give things away for free. Give things away for free, but then set the expectation that this is valuable, right? If you're gonna do a roofing audit, tell them what the price is, and then say, I'm gonna waive it for you because you're a first-time client, or because person A referred you to me. And then there's no expectation of actually them buying, but if they do decide to buy, it's their decision. You have to make a really strong argument of why they should buy. These are just some example mediums, right? And going back to the message, we want to talk about, what is it that we're trying to convey? The message could be, what are your customers' pain points, right? What are their problems or challenges? With roofers, they've been ripped off before, right? They're scared. They don't know if they can afford it. They don't know if they have to get financing. They don't know how much it's going to cost, right? I've got this roof and I haven't bothered to replace it. I don't know how bad the damage could be. I don't know if this person is going to come over and take advantage of me because I'm a single woman, right? Or I'm an elderly woman, right? I'm living on a fixed income. I don't know if I can afford this. So those are some of their pains and fears, right? Maybe they've been ripped off in the past, so they've been screwed over. So we want to address those pains and fears in our messaging. And chances are, if you've been on Facebook before, you've probably seen people writing copywriting. Copy is the text. It addresses the pain points, the problems, and fears of customers. And the reason we do this is because we want to make the customer feel known. In sales, one of the most important things is asking questions. With advertising, you don't have the opportunity to ask questions, so you have to actually do the research ahead of time. You have to go over and ask some of your existing customers, hey, what brought you to me? Hey, just out of curiosity, what are some of the problems or challenges that you were facing before you came and found our service? Hey, what are some of the things that our service solves, right? And one of the best ways to do this is to actually ask your current customers. Ask them, hey, what does our product or service solve? What challenge does it solve? Especially if you can do it right after they bought from you. That's really the best time to do it, because then you get some real-time feedback and you get to actually hear from your customers what made them want to buy from you. You definitely want to start with the most quality customers before you start going to some of the customers that spent the least amount of money or the most amount of trouble to deal with. Because what happens is you go to the quality customers, the customers that paid you first, fast, no problems, no questions asked. They are really responsive with whenever it comes down to getting things done, right? Deliverables. Those are the best customers, and you want to ask them who are their best referrals, right? Someone that needs this service, someone that could benefit from this service, etc., because they will refer people like them. Trouble customers will refer people like them as well. So which would you rather have? Great customers or customers that are price sensitive, that are slow to respond, that don't take your calls, that complain about everything? Would you rather have that kind of customer, or would you rather have the customer that loves your service, doesn't complain, refers people to your business, and spends a lot of money with you? What we want to address in that messaging is pain points, problems, and fears. We want to address, has anybody tried to sell them a similar service? How has that failed, right? A lot of times in the roofing industry, you get hard closers, right? Someone fills out a roofing form, hey, I need a new roof. They go onto Google, they find the first search result. There's a lot of companies that will manipulate the search results, so they go on this form, they fill out the form, and then their information gets blasted to a bunch of different roofing companies, and all these roofing companies are calling them. And then they're like, whoa, okay, price, right? That's the only thing they can go off of. So it's like price, okay, this one's the cheapest. And that's what happens. So we want to address that as well. Like, hey, listen, when you fill out this form, your information is not going to get blasted out to a bunch of different companies. Your information goes directly to us, and then we're going to contact you by phone. It's going to be coming from a 512 number. We're going to call you, and we're going to schedule a time where we can come out and perform the roofing audit. And it takes about 30 minutes. And what we're going to do is we're going to show you any key areas or points of impact or points of failure that could potentially cost you a lot of money down the road. And also at the same time, we're going to make the best possible recommendation of what you can do to fix it. That way you're not left in the dark, wondering what's gonna happen next, right? And so whenever they go to your form fill page, you wanna address that issue. You wanna let them know, hey, we're not gonna just blast out your information, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and then do what you say you're gonna do. If they fill out a form, call them within 30 minutes. Because if they fill out a form on your website and you don't call them, they're gonna go to someone else's website and they will call them, I guarantee it. So you wanna also address that in the form fill page. You wanna talk about what's gonna happen next. And then you also want to consider the messaging, what happens after the appointment, right? What happens pre-appointment? When they schedule an appointment, are they getting a text message response, like a reminder? Hey, we just want to let you know that our appointment's in 30 minutes. If you can't make it or if we need to reschedule, go ahead and click here. And we have automated systems that allow prospects to automatically do it on their own so that you don't have to spend time texting every single one of your appointments, right? You can literally set the appointment and then it just messages them for you. And it reminds them, and it lets them know, hey, don't forget, we have an appointment in 20 minutes. Hey, there's an email, we've got an appointment coming up. Here's a link you can use to go on the Zoom. Here's the link that you can use to, here's the phone number we're gonna call you from. That way your prospect's not left wondering in the dark what's going on. So, the pre-appointment messaging. And then what happens after the appointment? What are we saying to the customer during the appointment? What are we saying on the visit so that we can move the customer in the right direction so that they can feel confident making a buying decision? Do we have that rehearsed? Do we have a script, right? Scripting doesn't have to be bad. A script can be simple as this. Greet the customer. Hi, how you doing? My name is Cree. I work with ABC Roofing. Are you Suzanne? Hi Suzanne, nice to meet you. So I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen today. Do we still have about 30 minutes so we can work through the audit on your roof? Okay, fantastic. Great, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go up on the roof, we're gonna inspect everything. You don't have to come up there, don't worry. We're gonna take care of all that for you. We're gonna take a look at all these points and here's a list of all the different areas that we're gonna inspect on your roof. And we're gonna check for all of these things. Now, if we notice anything, we're also gonna take some photos as well so that we can show it to you and you can be safely here on the ground. That way you're not having to risk going up on your roof. Now, we wanna make sure that we can show you all these areas so you have a clear understanding of what needs to be repaired and what is okay. What we found is that a lot of roofing companies don't do a good enough job of educating their customers on what needs to be maintained on their roof, and therefore they end up having to replace their roof more often and it's more expensive. So by doing this process, we're able to then educate our customers and help them save a lot of money in the lifetime of their house. Does that sound good? And then that person says, of course, yes, that sounds good. I'd love to save more money over the lifetime of my house. Now notice I did not say that it's gonna be the cheapest possible fix. I didn't say that. What I said was, by going through this process, we're able to identify things, problems, before they become problems, fix them for you preemptively, and make it so that your roof lasts longer, so that in the long term, you're saving more money. So what's that's doing is that's pre-programming your customer to understand that when I present the price at the end, what's gonna end up happening is you're gonna wanna weigh and balance that price against the lifetime of your roof. Now, in that selling presentation, I also need to present information that's gonna support that claim. Because I can't just make a claim and then not support it, because now people can just go to Google. They can just pull out their phone, Google it, and try and compare prices. So what you wanna do as a business owner is you wanna gather that information for them so that by the time it comes to that point in the presentation, you've done the inspection, right? You've done the audit, and you've gone down and you've presented the information to the customer. And now you can prove to them through facts and evidence that the decision that they emotionally feel is a good decision is logically a good decision. Because at that point, if you're not able to present logical reasoning for why they can justify spending the money to repair XYZ and become your customer, then they're not going to be able to buy. They can't. Do you want to make a bad financial decision? Do you want to literally throw money away? No, none of us do. And so by educating your customer, showing them the things that are wrong, talking about the problems, and then also talking about the solution, and then giving them options on how to buy, you're able to then present a more compelling case to your customer. And what this does is it allows your customer to make the decision for you, and it becomes much, much easier. So the messaging is also in the presentation, in the documentation you give your salespeople. Are you scripting your appointments? Because if you're not, you need to start doing it, because you're leaving a lot of money on the table. So once we've done the appointment, then what happens afterwards? Do they just go into a black hole? Do they just fall off the radar? Do they just go nowhere? Or do we follow up with them? How many times do we follow up with them? How many touch points do we do? Right? I get calls all the time from call centers, contact centers, SEO, support agencies, people that are offering web design, that are telling me that they can get me tons of traffic and they can get me a lot of customers and all this stuff. And they're really great on the follow-up on the front end to try and get the customer, but the follow-up on the back end is awful. It's non-existent. It doesn't even exist. Most businesses never follow up with a lost customer. They never follow up with the customer that could have bought. And they're leaving 85% of the business on the table because they're not following up with their customers. Following up with the customers that didn't buy. So it's really important that we're addressing all these issues in our marketing here on social media, because by the time we get down to this point, if we don't have this information, we're not going to be able to effectively do this process. Because think of this funnel. Right? This is a funnel, and this is how a lot of people like to visualize it. Up here, you've got social media. Okay? That's how the customer first finds out about you. If we don't have this messaging right, we're gonna have all sorts of holes pouring out water. Right? Leaking out of the sides of the funnel, and then when you get down here, you only got a drop, right? You lose all your customers in the process because you didn't do this groundwork. So doing this groundwork allows you to really plug all these holes. Right, you get the picture, those are corks. So it allows you to plug all the holes so that you don't have to worry about this, and you get a steady stream of prospects, right? And this is you've got your form fills and your different lead generation mechanisms, your phone calls and your emails, and then you've got sales appointments and meetings, and then you have your conversion, your customer decides to buy. So when a customer falls out at each one of these stages, what we want to do is we want to ask, okay, well, why are they not filling out this form? And then try and capture them and put them back into the funnel. And why are they falling off this sales appointment? Or why did they not continue to the appointment? Well, maybe we don't have any pre-appointment messaging, and we don't have a script that we're following that keeps the experience consistent for the customer. Maybe we don't have any follow-up, right? So we want to address those areas first before we start to try and put more people into the funnel. Because if we have more people going in the funnel, we have more people coming out of the funnel. So we're spending a whole lot of money on getting more people in the funnel, but we don't have a great process that people can go through. So by focusing first on the who, message, and the medium, we have a better understanding of how to actually move people through this process. And then, instead of having 1 out of 10 leads convert into customers, we have 5 out of 10 leads, or 6 out of 10 leads, or 7 out of 10 leads convert into customers. So once we've got all this taken care of, then we want to start looking at, okay, what are the different stages of the funnel? And this is obviously an oversimplified model, but you've got 4 primary stages. You've got awareness, interest, right? They're actually interested in what you have to offer, buying intent, or they're qualified to buy, and then they just make the buying decision. So at each one of these stages, what we want to do is we want to ask ourselves, okay, well, how do we get more people to even be aware of us? How do we get more people to come into the funnel? Well, one of the ways that we can do that is through marketing. And marketing activities are blog posts, emails, ads, networking and events, going to forums where you talk, right? Presenting keynote speeches, being invited to private networking events, going to trade shows, right? Getting out and getting your business out there in the marketplace so that you can get in front of your ideal prospect. Going where your customer is, entering the conversation in their mind, and then engaging with that customer and asking them what it is that they need or they want. And by asking a lot of questions, you learn a lot about your customer, and then your marketing becomes more effective. Some examples of marketing with social media are Facebook groups, right? You can start your own group, or you can also join groups. And I recommend every business owner join numerous groups, small business groups, interest groups, join things that you're interested in, like hiking. I love jujitsu, and I love motorcycles and rock climbing. So I'm in all of those groups, and I engage with people, and they learn about my business through my profile, but I don't directly advertise my business in these groups. This is where you form relationships. So you want to be adding value to these groups. So that's one way to do it. Another way is through your Facebook page, by promoting content on your Facebook page, posting, going live, right? Shooting videos that are live, creating that content that is, again, it doesn't have to be all about your brand. It doesn't have to be all about your business. It's about showing multiple facets of your life, right? This is for your personal profile. And what you want to do is you want to showcase that you're a human being. You want to showcase your interests, which it can be your family, right? Do you have kids? Are you married to a spouse? Do you believe in the family structure? Are you engaged in your family, right? Do you like to take your family with you? Faith, whatever your faith is. You can show it subtly. You don't have to try and be a religious zealot, but you want to also let people know that you're of faith or not of faith, right? That's going to attract people to you either way. Fun. How do you like to have fun? Do you like to go out and hike, camp, run, jump, play? Are you a big traveler like I am? Do you like to go ride motorcycles like I do? Are you big into NASCAR? Do you like football? Are you a basketball player? Are you big into volleyball? Do you like knitting? Do you like reading? What's your idea of fun? Philanthropy, right? How do you like to give back? Do you like to go and do local charity walks, or maybe work in the soup kitchen or whatnot? So in your future, you want to kind of cast the future for your business or your family and talk about what's going to be coming down the pipeline. And then finances. You can talk about finances. Finances are not off limits. You can talk about your business. You can talk about how your business helps other businesses. You can talk about how your business helps individuals, right? You don't want to focus on one of these things, right? You want to go and create an engaging profile that talks about all these things so that it's engaging people, and it's not just always about business, right? That's the rule of thumb for Facebook. So your Facebook personal profile, don't post all the time about your family or all the time about finances or fun, right? Because then you're not really doing anything to market your business. But people will go and check out your Facebook profile to see that you're a real person, and they want to see this stuff. Another way that you can use it is ads, right? You can create a Facebook business page, and you can actually run Facebook ads from that business page. And again, you want to be sharing some of this stuff, but you want to also be talking about, how does your business affect people's finances? How does your business help other businesses, etc.? And then you can turn those posts into ads so that then they're driving traffic and results. You can also post occasionally a advertising type post in Facebook groups, but you have to be very careful with this because you don't want to come across as spammy, right? You don't want to be spammy-pammy, but you also want to make sure that you're adding value in the groups before you ask for anything, right? You don't want to just go in a group and then dump a bunch of ads in there and then just leave because nobody's going to value that. So add some value first, then you can make a post that is engaging with somebody's post. Like if someone says that they have a problem, you can talk about how to address the problem. And if they're interested in talking more about it offline, then you can say, if you want to talk more about this, you can just shoot me a message. And that's technically an ad, but it's also not a overbearing type ad, right? People are very, very sensitive about ads just being in their face, but whenever you're doing advertisements, your strict ads are, call to actions for someone to get a specific result. So I'm going to talk about each one of these in light detail. We can go in more detail later on, but essentially your business is going to want to decide which media is right for you based on what we did before, which was identifying our target market, our target messaging, and then identifying the media. We always want to follow in that order because if we don't know who we're targeting and we don't know what we're going to say, this doesn't really matter. You end up spending a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort on trying to market your business without ever really knowing what you're going to say. So it's really important that you do the legwork of identifying your target audience first before you ever start going into what social media am I going to use. So let's talk about what each social media is useful for, and then we're going to be able to go into, how does each one of these affect your search engine optimization? How does it affect your other marketing efforts? So with Facebook, who's typically on Facebook? This is generally an older crowd, but everybody has a Facebook profile. There are 2 billion people on Facebook. So Facebook is really ideal. It used to be great for organic marketing, and there are ways of still utilizing Facebook organically. There's Facebook groups, and you can create groups, but they are work to maintain. So just be aware that if you create your own group, you have more authority, you have more, like you're the group creator, right? You're the leader of the group. It's kind of like your tribe, but you also have more responsibility to go in and post content. I created groups in the past and they died, and I created some successful groups and they've worked out and I sold them. But the most important thing is that groups are a way of getting connected to your customer and providing value first and creating an environment where your customers can talk to each other. And then they are also able to refer each other business and you become the nexus of that group. So groups are really powerful. You can also join other groups and add value. LinkedIn is really great for connecting with people that are in the business space. So if you're a B2B business and you sell directly to businesses, this is a great way to showcase your business, showcase your brand, produce content, right? Post articles. You want to be careful with not trying to just copy and paste your articles from your website, but you want to create unique content for that. When I say unique content, it could be a video like this that you're repurposing in short form content, or you can also take your key points from a long form post and distill it down into a 30 sentences or like 20 sentences, really, because it's going to be a post, and post it on LinkedIn and add infographics and add emojis and whatnot and share it. But then also don't expect people on social media to just like your stuff right away. What you need to do is you need to get people to see your stuff, see your posts. And how do you do that? Well, on Facebook and LinkedIn, the best way to do it is go and follow people, like people, add people to your network. It's social networking. It's about broadening your network. So if you have a really big reach, right? Let's say you have 5,000 people following you on Facebook, right? 5,000 friends. You can have way more people following you, but 5,000 people that you genuinely engage with, like their posts, comment on their posts, reach out to them, DM them, say, hey, I'm looking to grow my network. I'd love to connect with you. And you have 5,000 people that know your name, they know your brand, that are following your content and getting your stuff daily, right? Not everybody's going to be engaging with your content, and that's okay. That's when you go ahead and you remove people from your groups list, your friends list. But the nice thing about this is that you can actually take those Facebook friends and you can build a page off of that. And you can invite all those friends, and you can actually pull all those friends into that new page. And that way you can launch a page faster, right? I learned from mistake, from trial and error, launching a page without a lot of friends is really challenging. So start with your personal profile on Facebook, right? Reach some of those people, join groups, comment, engage, post, right? Utilize your target marketing that you've created. Make a Word document and put all of that stuff in there. And that way, every time you log into Facebook, every time you log into LinkedIn, you're going into that file and you're looking at, okay, who am I trying to target? Who am I trying to serve? What can I offer of value to them? And then look for those people in groups and message them, comment, post. Try to add value. Don't try and take. LinkedIn, same thing. You've got, I think, 700 million users. And the nice thing about LinkedIn is that it's paid, right? There's a paid version. So you have a little bit higher quality prospect from the standpoint that that person's willing to already pay for something. And with Facebook, there's no pay, right? Facebook runs tons of ads. That's how they pay for their platform. LinkedIn actually has a membership subscription. Now, also be careful too, because you don't want to come across as a spammer. You don't want someone to think that you're just trying to get them to buy something, right? You want to try and add value first. So they also have groups. And you can also have up to 5,000 connections. And you can have, actually I think you can have more than 5,000 connections. You can have like 30,000 connections. But once you hit 500, LinkedIn stops showing all your connections. But you can have, I know people that have 30,000 people in their network on LinkedIn. And just imagine, 30,000 people in your LinkedIn network. If you had 30,000 people in your LinkedIn network and you only reached 1% of them, that's 300 people that are seeing your stuff every single day, right? So that's the power of social networking if you use it correctly. And I've been guilty of not using it correctly in the past, and now I've changed that. But essentially, this is how you want to utilize Facebook and LinkedIn, is by growing your network authentically and then connecting with those people. So you can also do the same thing. You can purge your connections on LinkedIn. If someone's spamming you all the time, if they're not engaging with your content, you can remove them from LinkedIn. And that's a great way of being able to do that. You can also run ads on LinkedIn, but just start with the organic for now. Pinterest is very female-centric, and there's 85% of the platform which is female. Pinterest is also a search engine, so it's pretty good for that as well. The thing about Pinterest, though, is that your brand it's not really a B2B marketplace, it's more of a B2C marketplace. So you have to really be cautious about how you represent your brand, because it is mostly a women demographic. So you want to make sure that your boards and your content is all catering towards women, but is also male neutral. So we take the same approach with short-term rentals, is that we want to make sure that our short-term rental appeals to women, but is not going to turn guys off. It's not going to turn them off from wanting to stay there. So same thing with your Pinterest boards. Appeal to women. Make it colorful, make it beautiful, make it engaging, make it very fun and friendly and inviting, and then have your link in your profile so they can go back and learn more about your business. But don't turn off guys, because there are still 15% of the platform is men. So, and I don't know exact numbers on that, but Pinterest is fairly large, and it is a search engine. So as you add pins, as you add boards, it gets shown in Google search, it gets shown in Google images, and it pulls that into Pinterest, and then Pinterest is growing daily. So it's great for image search. Twitter is a news outlet. So this is a great place to find news, right? News mentions. It's a great place to follow comedians, bloggers. It's a short form blogging content. So the character limit is 160 characters. It's actually the same character limit as the meta description that goes in Google. So if you're good at writing Twitter headlines and content, then you'll be good at writing title tags and meta description. So it's actually a carryover skill. So you can actually use this to practice ads, right? Having calls to actions and headlines and stuff like that. You want to make sure that you want to do the F's, right? Family, fun, friends, philanthropy, future, and finances, but you don't want to also over promote those things without actually having a call to action. So if you're launching a new book or you've got some sort of service, you can promote that, but just understand that Twitter is, for the most part, it's used as a news outlet, a political outlet, and it's also great for comedians and stuff like that. You can also link it up to where it cross-promotes some of your other content on Twitter. So, but again, you have to go and follow people, you have to follow tags that are in your niche, you have to follow interests of yours and engage with people's content. So don't expect Twitter to happen overnight. They also have ads as well. Instagram is a very visual platform, just like Pinterest. Instagram has a layout that's slightly different. It's a feed versus a just kind of a canvassing tile. The mobile version is actually very similar to Pinterest as well, but essentially Instagram is better for a younger demographic, right? It skews younger than Facebook. It's not professional like LinkedIn, but there are, with both Pinterest and with Instagram, there are now pinnable posts where you can actually drive people directly to a store to make a purchase. So Instagram is being utilized a lot more for e-commerce, and also there's a lot of people that are using it for advertising. It's a great way of showing behind the scenes, right? So you can do a Instagram, you want to showcase kind of your raw, uncut. You don't want to try and portray a perfect image because people are just so done with the perfect image. With Instagram, you want to kind of show what's happening behind the scenes, right? So each one of these platforms is utilized for different things, but your Facebook, your LinkedIn, it's all professional, right? It's about your business, your brand. Your Pinterest is all imagery. It's about, you speaking on stage or you going out and servicing a client, right? Instagram is also great for local businesses because you can showcase happy customers, happy customer experiences. You want to do testimonials, you can do a selfie testimonial, and you can utilize Instagram as a marketing tool. And you can even plug this into your website as well, so you can show your feed on your website. TikTok is actually really interesting because TikTok is 100% organic right now. They've actually just started to do advertisements, but it's a short form video plus music application. One thing that makes TikTok really interesting is that it's actually a Chinese-based company, and they were recently in talks of acquiring or were acquired. TikTok is kind of hit or miss. I've posted some content on TikTok, has not done super well, haven't gone in to really try and engage with it, to follow other people, to like their stuff. Because what happens is there are a few people that really cascade to the top. They end up having content that goes viral, and then the algorithm features that content, but then everybody else is just basically not going viral. You have to work really hard to get momentum or post something that's funny, interesting, but it can also be a distraction from your actual business, right? So you don't want to be focused so much on trying to be on all these platforms, because being on all these platforms may detract from actually what your business is, right? If you're a roofer, you don't want to be trying to do like goofy roofing videos or like videos of you walking to Shakira or something like that and then not be servicing a customer. So be cautious about new platforms coming into play, because there's always going to be new platforms and they're recycling content. TikTok is very similar to what Vine was. Vine like a plant, right? So TikTok is basically short 1 to 2 minute videos with music and loops and boomerangs and goofy stuff that you can do. It's very much so about grab people's attention really quickly. It's a lot like advertising. But again, I would be cautious with TikTok. Be on TikTok, start to kind of experiment with things, but don't go 100% in on this, right? Because again, the algorithm could change. They could be sold out to another company. They could start flooding it with ads, and then it becomes very similar to Facebook, right? They don't have TikTok groups yet. There's not TikTok lives. It's literally just make a post, shoot a video, do something funny, and then share it. But one of the nice things about TikTok is that they actually have the ability to natively share the videos across the other social platforms. So they've got a button to share it on Facebook, right? And then it goes to Facebook and shares. So you can create content on Facebook, you can create content on LinkedIn, you can create content on Twitter and on Instagram, all from the TikTok app, and then share it across all your other channels. So it is really nice because they're thinking all about growth, right? They're not thinking about trying to get as much advertising as possible. They're trying to grow as quickly as possible, get as many users on the platform as possible, get people addicted to the content as quickly as possible, and then once they've got a big enough user base, then they're switching over to ads. And you're starting to see advertisements come into play. The growth of the platform is negatively affected by the amount of ads that are on the platform. So Facebook was all organic for a long period of time, and then they started doing ads, and then your content started getting shown to less and less people, and Facebook stock is at like $240 a share right now. If you bought it at $20 a share, you'd be rich right now, but essentially the same thing happens with all social media platforms. They try to grow as quickly as possible. Once they have a big enough user base, they start monetizing, and that's when you start to have a loss of reach. YouTube is the #2 search engine. It's great for long form content, so trainings like this, and it's actually a great place to put your content, and then once you've got your content live on YouTube, share it to your other channels, right? What you want to do is you want to make sure that it's unique content, so don't share all of the video, right? You can talk about, just the highlights of the video and chop it up into smaller pieces and then put it onto Instagram and put it onto LinkedIn and Facebook, right? Which have video platforms. Facebook's actually doing a huge push for video content. They like 3 minutes or longer videos. So those videos are great because then you can convert them into ads. But really, Facebook is great for a lead generation platform. So YouTube is nice because if you actually work on the thumbnails and the keywords and doing the research, it works very similar to WordPress SEO or website SEO, is that you want to make sure that your titles are correct, right? Your titles are targeting a keyword, that your description or your meta description has content and keywords in it that are going to be relevant to what your searcher is searching for. And then also you can actually add tags as well, just like with blogging, where those tags can be some of the key terms you're trying to target. And I'll link down below this video a useful tool. It's called TubeBuddy, T-U-B-B-U-D-D-Y. Trying to think about too many things at once. So that will actually allow you to go in and do keyword research and do competitor analysis and find out what other roofers in the area are ranking for, what their tags are, etc. And you can add them to your channel. So that's a great way of being able to grow your channel. And the goal is to educate your prospects, give them some information, and then you can also take these videos and you can embed them across the internet. So you can share them on other channels, you can put them on your Tumblr account, which we'll talk about, and you can also take that YouTube video and you can add it to your website. You can add it to certain sections of your website, and the hosting on it is completely free. So you don't have to actually pay for huge media servers. Google does that. You can leave ads off or you can turn ads on, and then you can actually take some of your best performing videos and convert them into ads as well using YouTube video ads. So this is a really great platform for organic growth, for advertising, especially since video is so engaging, right? You're able to engage the prospect. You've got the audio, you've got the visual cues, you've got the body language, you've got the tonality, right? So you're able to communicate very well through video, and that's why Zoom is so popular right now, and Skype and the other video conferencing services, because we want to communicate. We want to be around other people, right? And so this is a great platform to be on. Tumblr, this is actually a platform that doesn't get enough attention. So Tumblr and WordPress are what we call website 2.0s, and so they're websites that have quite a bit of domain authority, and we use this in search engine optimization. What we want to do basically, these are free blogging tools, and we want to create a post and we want to link it back to your website. And then what you can do is you can take some of the other content that you're doing on other social channels and you can repurpose it for these two channels. And so a free WordPress website, a free Google My Business website, a Tumblr website, but again, we want to make sure that the content that we're putting out is contextually based on our target audience. Okay, so what I want you to focus on as a business owner is don't try and do all of this at once, right? The goal of this should be to attract people to your business and come to your website where they can then identify themselves as either a prospect or not, and then by the time they're done with your website, they've either made a decision to buy or not. And so what we're doing basically is we're taking your business and we're putting you at the center of all these different channels, right? This could be Google My Business, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, podcast, right? Whatever. And what we're doing is we're linking them all back to your website, right? And your website is where they can call you, email you, or fill out a form. And so the goal of this is to take all these different channels and funnel them back to your website so that this is where you convert them into customers. But it starts with the outer reaches, right? Growing your tendrils, right? So when we're talking about SEO, it's a totally different ball of wax, but essentially that's what you need to do. So action items. Clearly identify who it is that you're targeting. Who is your prospect? Write it down. What are you going to say to them? Get clear on what are their problems, what are their pain points, what are their fears, what are their objections, what bothers them, who has lied to them, who is the enemy in their mind, right? Is it the government? Is it the education system? Is it salespeople? Is it marketing agencies? Is it businesses, business owners that are unscrupulous? Who's the enemy in their mind, right? Find a common enemy and then address that in your advertising and your marketing. So identify the message, right? Who's the problem? What's the problem that they're experiencing? And then get really clear on that problem so that every time you communicate with that person, that one person that you're talking to, that you're clear with your messaging so that they can be clear on what they need to do. And then number 3 is identify your channels, right? Where are you going to be putting your message out? There's a slew of different networking sites, right? There's meetup.com, Eventbrite, you've got Indeed, right? Where you can find not only employees, but also jobs. You've got monster.com, you've got LinkedIn Local, where you can actually network on the LinkedIn level. You can attend LinkedIn local meetups. You've got Facebook meetups. You've got tons and tons of ways of connecting with your prospect. You just need to identify where they are. And then you want to identify what's the best channel to connect with them, right? Part of it would be networking. And you also want to have social media channels up so you can communicate. It's no longer about broadcasting your message. It's about creating a link to your customers so that they can communicate with you and you can answer their questions and you can get feedback so that you can improve your marketing and your messaging. And then number 4 is create a plan, right? Create a plan, create a roadmap, create a strategy. What are you going to do? How many days a week are you going to be active in this? Are you going to create video content like I'm doing right now? Are you going to be posting every day? Are you going to go into Facebook groups and then add value, comment, like people's posts, right? Connect with people. Are you going to add 30 people to your personal social channels a day, right? Are you going to join other groups? Are you going to attend meetups, right? What are you going to do in order to create movement in your business? And then write it down, right? Put it to paper. Commit to something. Commit to doing something. Maybe you're super busy and all you can do is go to a meetup once a week. Or maybe you don't even have time for that. Maybe you just have time to literally just be in Facebook groups and just 10 minutes a day, just jump in, read people's comments and then comment on something with your opinion or your ideas and then make a little post, right? That might be all you can do. And that's okay. But what you have to do is you have to do something. Otherwise your business won't grow. So anyways, that's it for today, guys. and girls, right? I don't want to rule anybody out, but if you have any other questions or if you have any other feedback, be sure to let me know. Comment down below. You can connect with me on social. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm very active on those two platforms. I'm not super active on Instagram, but I do have an Instagram account. I'll link all those down below. And just reach out to me. Let me know what your thoughts are. Was this useful? Right? Is this content helpful to you? I'll be sure to also keep posting. I'm going to be adding one video a week, right? Because that's the frequency that I can do. But you also want to make sure that you're committed to whatever it is that you're doing. Make sure that you do it consistently, because you will start to see results over time. So anyways, connect with me however you'd like. You can also go to my website, intelligencemarketing.com. We do offer a 15-minute consultation, a 20-minute consultation if you're a small business owner and you're struggling through the current pandemic, and you'd like to also talk about some ways that you can grow your business. You can get more leads, more quality prospects without having to throw money down the drain like other marketing agencies have done in the past. And we can come up with a plan to help you with making your business a business that you enjoy rather than a business you have to work in. Because I hear that all too often from clients is that they have to go to work, or they started this business by accident, or it used to be somebody else's and they have to keep working in it because they can't get out. So we can come up with a plan to help you with stepping out of your business so that you can go on to live a life that you really deserve, that you desire, right? A life of freedom, a life of being able to give back and be able to grow your community, be able to spend time with people that you love and not be, spending 60 to 80 hours a week in your business grinding just to try and make sure that things stay afloat, right? So anyways, I hope you guys got a lot of value from this video. Be sure to also hit the bell notification, which should be right over here. Hit subscribe, then hit the bell notification so you get updates about future videos that we come out with, and we'll see you next time.